Hey guys, I'd like to discuss today on how to solve one of the issues that we have with Spring Framework is circular dependency. Um, as you can tell in this diagram, we have schedule service has a dependencies on feedback service, and then feedback service has a dependency on schedule service. This will cause a problem when we start up Spring, and which I like to show you in an example right now. Here's the problem that I have. Here's the a sample application that I have. As you can tell, this is a Spring Boot app, and I have two services here. One is a feedback service annotated by the service annotation. It has a dependencies on schedule service, and I use injection via the constructor right here. Um, and then I got schedule service has a dependency on feedback service, which we just talked about earlier. And once again, it uses the injection by constructor. Um, so when you run this, you're going to see the circular dependencies issue. That is. So Spring is complaining, saying that feedback service has a dependencies on schedule service, and schedule service has a dependencies on feedback service. Um, when you have this problem, it Spring won't boot up. Spring Framework will just die at the startup. So how do we solve this issue? First of all, as a good engineer, in general, you don't want to have this sort of circular dependency, but sometimes you have no way around it. It could be because it's legacy code, or you're um, depending on some of those people's service, and that service happens to have a dependency on yours. So, but I'm going to quickly show you how to get around it so that you won't have the issue anymore. Um, one of the quickest way to do it is to mark the dependent service as lazy using the Spring Framework lazy annotation. And all you have to do is mark that dependency as lazy. So what this does is that Spring will create a proxies for feedback service when it instantiate or build schedule service. So it won't have to build up or instantiate feedback service. And when you run this, the error will go away. You see, everything is good now. No errors. Okay. And and then you're probably gonna question, is feedback service gonna be usable after the instantiation? The answer is yes, it will. Um, when feedback service is needed um, later on during runtime, Spring will go ahead and actually create and build the true implementation for feedback service. And like what I mentioned earlier, feedback services is a proxy at the start, but when it's needed, it will be its full implementation, delegated to its full implementation. just kind of like how we have lazily loaded collection in Hibernate. It's the same way. So there you have it. That's how you solve uh, circular dependency using Spring Framework. And what I'm doing here is I'm using dependency injection via the constructor, which is a preferred way to do injection in Spring. But for those of you that want to do auto wire, you can do it this way, and you can just mark it as lazy over here, and everything should work still. You run it, there should be no more errors. Okay. All right, that concludes our tutorial of the lazy Spring Lazy annotation. You have any question or comments, please add your comments below. Thanks.